Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Tuesday night call. We're getting close to DE. Remember that it's happening October 23rd to the 26th. I hope you got in on the room. There's only 9 days left. I am so looking forward to it. And then, of course, we have our Connect groups. What more can we say? We want to be connected with you at DE, but we want to be connected with you when you're back in your offices. So please reach out to your teams, talk to them, get some advice or help them with something. Here's the list of the rest of the DE meetings. Of course, we have the fall one. And then it's winter 2026, January 29th to February 1st, back in Atlanta at the Marriott Perimeter. And then springtime in April 16th to the 19th. We're in Florida. Hopefully we have great weather. It's a good time. All righty. So I said to Dr. Tracy when I saw her first thing in the room that she's one of my favorite people to look at because she has one of the best smiles at DE. She's originally a California girl, but now she practices up in Connecticut. And I wait to hear what she has to share with us tonight. So here we go, Dr. Tracy Malton.
Hi. Thank you for having me on. This is an honor to be able to be here. So basically, I guess they said to start off with just kind of talking about who I am. So I decided to be a chiropractor when I was 6 years old. So I had a horseback riding accident where the saddle actually had flipped underneath the horse. And so as she was running away, she actually kicked me in the head and I had a massive concussion. My mom was doing dishes. She looked out the window and there was a pony, but no Tracy. So she decided to come out and get me and find me. And I was actually still unconscious laying in the middle of the road. So they took me to the hospital, looked at and said, nothing's broken, but she's going to be, she's going to be fine. So, but I still hurt. I wasn't feeling good and, concussion stuff. And my mom took me to her chiropractor. So she'd been seeing a chiropractor because she had a herniated disc and had a bad back most of her life. And so when he adjusted me, I said, this is what I want to be when I grow up. So that's what I did. I did have somebody tell me that I might be bored being a chiropractor. And so I looked into physical therapy, which was great because it gave me a good understanding of what PTs do, but totally different than chiropractic, obviously. So I feel like I was divinely drawn into chiropractic and I absolutely love what I do. I just first actually came to DE when I first moved to Connecticut. So I practiced in Colorado for about 10 years. And then I moved to Connecticut with my ex-husband. So we were trying to figure out what was happening in Connecticut and with the chiropractic field, because we had tried to start something similar to a Band of Brothers, but it didn't work. So we came here and I just went door to door and started talking to all the different chiropractors. And I ended up in Rob Shaw's office and he started talking about subluxation. And I was like, oh, wait, this is my people. So I decided to talk to him and he told me about this really cool group of chiropractors that were meeting the next night. and at this office in Newington. Yeah, who knows what even Newington was at that time. And so I went home and I talked with my husband and I said, I would like to do this. So, you got the kids, I'll go see what this is all about. And it was the day that they were deciding what they should call the group, if they should call it Band of Brothers or not. So I'm actually pretty proud of the fact that I was there right at the very beginning of the Band of Brothers starting. And then a couple of years later, I started working for Steve as an associate when my ex-husband and my marriage kind of went. And so I got to go to DE a bunch of times. So I think I've been going for 17, 16 years, something like that. Not as long as some of the people, but it's been a long time. So when I was first asked to do this, I came home and I asked my husband, I'm like, well, what should I talk about on this philosophy call? And he said, work-life balance. And I kind of laughed because Daniela had just asked me what my hobbies were. And I said, yard work. So, having a work-life balance is a challenge in chiropractic, especially if you feel about chiropractic the way I feel about chiropractic. I don't feel like I do chiropractic. I feel like I am chiropractic. It's who I am. I live, eat, breathe it. And, I had both my kids at home. I raised them very naturally, unvaccinated. They've just been very, very healthy children. I have a family practice, so I see a lot of families with babies and mamas and pregnant women, and I have some athletes and I have a lot of seniors as well. And I like that kind of practice. I like having a variation of, I don't just have one group of people that come in. And so when you love your job as much as I love my job, I find it's sometimes hard to choose what you're going to focus on in life. I feel like a lot of times we end up kind of on like a seesaw. Sometimes your family has the energy that you have to put behind them, and sometimes it's your practice, and you kind of do this balance back and forth, back and forth. I know that when my kids were littler, that I definitely spent a lot more time on my family, and I didn't have as big a practice, and I focused in a smaller growth pattern, because that's what I needed to do to be able to support my kids and allow them to be in Girl Scouts and soccer and crew and all the things that they used to do. And now that my kids are grown, that they're off in college and doing their own things, and I don't have to drive them back and forth, and they don't want me driving them back and forth, that I can spend more time at work and be able to help grow my practice. In the last couple of years, I've actually been able to put myself into my associate. So we just actually hired our second associate. And that has been wonderful because I've been able to help them in their philosophy and trying to bring the DE philosophy into them and watch them grow and learn from my mistakes, because we all make mistakes. I made mistakes as a parent. I made mistakes as a wife. I've made mistakes as a human. We all do. The idea is if we can learn from those mistakes and be able to grow from it, get stronger from it, and then be able to bring that and help somebody hopefully not make the same mistakes that we have. And that's what I feel like I did with my children. And that's what I kind of feel like I'm doing with my associates in my practice now. They also help me with my work-life balance because of the way that I feel about chiropractic. And I've always found it hard to take time off. I had to take a vacation meant that I had to close the practice, or I'd hire somebody to come in and, they'd work with me or for me for a couple of days, but the patients weren't really familiar with them. They didn't really know what was going on with the person. And so half the people wouldn't show up, and then they come back, and some of them were broken because they didn't get the care that they needed while I was away. And then I felt guilty. So I wouldn't take the time to go. And it was challenging. And so now, having the associates in the practice, I'm able to reach more people. They're able to help me by adjusting, my patients when I'm away. I'm able to adjust their patients when they're away, and it helps with that balance. I currently work 4 days a week. Actually actively, seeing patients, and that I find is wonderful. And I'm able to do the other things that I like to do when I'm not in practice, such as yard work. So, a lot of people have hobbies like pickleball or CrossFit or, sewing circles and reading books and whatnot. I actually get joy from doing manual labor, and it's kind of silly. But Saturday, I literally was out in the backyard digging up stones from an old rock wall that was there. And I was digging them out of the dirt and pulling them and hauling them. And I, put the stones along the path that we have. And then I got to look back and say, look at that beautiful path that I made. And it felt good. Sometimes it's splitting firewood. And I know that if I split firewood, then, this winter that we're going to be able to have a beautiful fire and warm the house. And I like a really nice fire. My husband, he goes out and picks up sticks. He puts his headphones on, and he could be gone for an hour, and he comes back and he's got a pile of wood as tall as you and I. And he's just happy as a clam to have picked up sticks. And then we have a big giant bonfire in the front yard. Yeah, I did say the front yard. We live way out in the woods. And so we have a big fire pit that's probably 10 foot wide in our front yard. And so we have a little bonfire, and sometimes it's just the two of us sitting out there and listening to all the crickets chirping, and we burn down his pile of sticks, and sometimes throw a couple of the logs that we split. But it keeps us happy and it keeps us balanced. I find that when I'm able to do physical things outdoors, it helps me balance some of the stress of running a practice. If I had my choice, I would only adjust and not have to run a practice, because there's challenges with it. And I don't love doing bookkeeping. I don't love doing the payroll and the marketing and all of the stuff that goes into running a successful practice. But that's part of that seesaw. So we balance that. And when I get stressed out from doing the part of the job that I don't love, I can go out and do something physical and kind of put myself back together, and then that gives me more strength to be able to come back and adjust more people the next day. And I love adjusting. I love being a chiropractor. It's the most powerful thing to be able to to touch somebody and to be able to see them change their life by just simply putting your hands on them. And I have some people who they don't get touched by anybody else in their life, male, female, young and old. I hug my patients with permission, obviously. But it's amazing to see that sometimes when I do my exam, and this is somebody I just met, and at the end of the exam, I'll say, "Would you like a hug?" And to watch them, and they literally, they stand up and they tackle you with open arms to and be able to see that, like, yes, I get to get a hug. And it's amazing to be able to see people and watch them and see them come out. And I've had people say to me that sometimes they come just as much for the hug as they do the adjustment, because it's that connection, that heart to heart connection that we get with them when we're touching them, when we're adjusting them, and when they can feel the love that you give them. It's priceless. It's invaluable. And I love that component of my practice. And it's why I do what I do. And it's one of the things I love about DE is going to DE. It's a place for me to refill my cup so that my heart is full, so that when I come back, I can give more to my patients. And it's where I get so many hugs at DE. I love DE. And when I first brought my husband to DE, he's not a big hugger. Now he'll hug me, but outside people. And I just kind of told him, I said, just be ready. You're going to get hugged, and you're going to get hugged by a lot of men. And God bless him, he went right in, and he got really behind DE, and he's supportive of when I go, which I love. He's been a few times. He kind of wishes he could go a little bit more often, but due to his work vacation schedule, it doesn't unfortunately work out for him. But he gets to go, and he understands why I go, and I come back to DE, and I'm a better me than what I was when I went into DE. And unfortunately, this summer I missed DE this summer, and I am so looking forward to this next week. I'm so excited about it, and I just can't wait to get in and get my hands on some of you guys and refill my cup. I actually tell patients that, when I go to DE, I'm going to my chiropractic church. We go to church to be able to fill our cup up so that we can be better people. And that's what DE does to me, is it helps me be a better chiropractor, but it helps me be a better person. And it helps me just do more, because sometimes life gets us down. And I try to be a very positive person. I try to focus on the positivity in life, but sometimes bad things can happen. Bad things can happen to some really good people. And in my life, I had a couple years ago, some bad stuff happened. And with DE, I was able to recharge and get back. And sometimes the people who really helped me didn't even probably know how much that they meant to me, just by seeing that they made it through and they were able to get through a challenge, a heartache, and come out the other side. It helped me know that I can be there too. because I don't know about you, but I'm a believer that if somebody can do something, then I can do it too. If it's been done before and I want to do it, I can do it. And so that's what DE's done. Chris and Winter, they were very, very helpful for me a couple of years ago. And just knowing that they're there. And hi, Seth. I've got some great people, and I may not talk to each one of you guys every day, but you're all in my heart. And I love that you guys pop up on my little Facebook feed, and I get to see Claudia, and she had her table outside. I was kind of jealous. I'm thinking about doing that maybe this fall, getting outside and maybe practicing in the parking lot. Yeah, we have a drive-through. We should be able to do that. But I love my job. I love chiropractic. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I'm so honored that you asked me to be here. I've been blessed to have some really great people in my life. In my practice, my office manager is, one of my dearest friends, and she is so moved by chiropractic, and she's so wonderful to have in chiropractic with me, and to watch the changes that she makes, and with people, even though she's not actually physically adjusting them, she's still kind of performing chiropractic on their souls, which I really love. And then, Dr. Caitlin, she's awesome, and she's helping people, and she's come so far in the 2.5 years she's been with me. We just hired a new woman, Dr. Esther, and she's a new grad. And so she's kind of learning what chiropractic is, and being out there and learning how to be a good doctor to her patients, and helping her to grow and to be the best chiropractor she could be. And she's scheduled to come for the January meeting, and I think we're going to close down shop and have everybody there, just because I think we all need to go as a team to have DE in everybody. So thank you so much. I'm not real sure what else I'm supposed to say. So I don't know what else to do, Mindy.
I have no way to tell you you're doing great, and I'm coming.
Oh, okay.
Until Daniela switches us over. So first of all, I was right. You have one of the best smiles. And
Thank
two,
you.
that picture behind you,
Uh-huh.
that cow is very focused on everything you've been saying. I've been so drawn to looking at that cow. It's amazing. So you got a picture so focused. I'm sure you've got patients so focused on what chiropractic can do for them. I felt like you brought us into your living room to make us part of like a coffee talk, and you did really, really well for us. All these talks are just about how we all grow through DE, and you definitely showed that with what you gave to us, and you always have great hugs. I had seen on your website, you see from babies to seniors and everyone in between. So
Yep.
It's just an open door policy. And then you said, we can help. And all of us chiropractors just have to remember, we can help. That's our large message to the world. They just have to come through the door. And then one day I'd like to see chiropractic drive-through, because I know you have a bank.
It's true.
Have safe travels to DE. I can't wait to see you. Everybody that's been on the call is going to listen later. You're going to enjoy it. Much love, Tracy.
Love and appreciate you.
Good night, everybody.